My husband always looked down on me and was uncooperative in our married life. Every now and then he'd say, "You should be grateful to me, a high earner," and belittle me, a vocational school graduate. One day my husband said, "You should appreciate what you have in me," and he left home. "Are you ready to apologize yet?" That's what he asked when he contacted me, and I told him, "It's more comfortable without you." My name is Annika, and I'm 28 years old. I met my husband Matthew, who's the same age, through a mutual friend. When I met him, I had just graduated from a vocational school in the countryside and moved to the city for work. Matthew, who was from the city, actively taught me about urban life. "Ask me anything about this place. You must be lost since you just came from the countryside, right?" Well, I'll take you up on that offer. I'm confused about the train transfers, and then, when I asked various questions, Matthew said, "I'll guide you." Matthew, who showed me an unknown world, was very reliable, and I gradually became attracted to him. On his days off, Matthew would take me to popular tourist spots, and we started seeing each other every weekend. Gradually, we began to have dinner after work more often, and it became natural for Matthew and me to be together. So it was only natural that he proposed to me. I had no reason to refuse, and Matthew and I became a married couple before we knew it. However, as our married life continued, Matthew began to look down on me. "You're going to keep working after we get married, right?" I looked into Matthew's eyes and answered his question. "Yeah, I'm planning to. We have to pay the mortgage on our new home." "Really? All right, do as you like, but don't slack off on the housework, okay?" "What? Since we're both working, let's share the housework." "Share? Unlike you, a vocational graduate, I have a responsible job. I don't have time for housework." "But I have work too." "Work? It's probably no different from part-time work, right? Besides, there are plenty of replacements for someone like you who didn't even go to college. I'm expected by the company, so it's not the same. My work is many times more important than yours." "But..." "There's no but. It's only natural for the one who doesn't earn to do the housework." "I think that's wrong, though." "You wouldn't understand since you didn't even go to college. That's common sense." I had my own opinions, but I didn't want to fight so early in our marriage. I gave up on persuading Matthew and decided to do all the housework myself, as he said. I had been living alone for a long time, so I wasn't bad at housework. I had been cooking for myself while working, so it was just for two people now. I quietly obeyed Matthew. Perhaps encouraged by this, he gradually became more unreasonable. "From today, I'll manage all the salary. I'll give you living expenses, so manage with that." We had moved our savings to a joint account before marriage, and after marriage, we planned to use our money carefully and gradually increase our savings. But Matthew suddenly said, "I'll manage everything." The living expenses Matthew gave me were only $100. $100? Is this just for food? The other daily necessities are separate, right? "What? That's all the money I'm giving you. You can manage with $100 as a housewife, right?" Food, daily necessities, medical expenses, all of that for just $100 a month? It's impossible. "It's not impossible. You'll do it. I come home tired from work every day. I won't forgive you if you skimp on meals." Moreover, Matthew was picky about the menu, and he'd become grumpy if it wasn't luxurious. "What's this? Just this little bit of meat? Lately it's all cheap meat. I want you to serve me some expensive meat after I've worked all day." "But with $100 for living expenses, it's impossible. If you want to eat meat, can you increase the living expenses a bit?" "No more whining! I can't give you any more." "Why? If we combine both our salaries, we should still have some left over for rent and utilities, right? I want you to use some of the savings for living expenses." "The balance is decreasing. I can't increase it anymore." "What? We're not saving? Why, when I'm saving so much?" "How should I know? Maybe the $100 for living expenses is still too much." "You haven't been checking the details, have you?" "What man would bother looking at that?" "If the balance is decreasing, you need to check what it's being spent on to manage it properly. What on earth are you spending so much on? You've been coming home late lately. Is it the drinking expenses?" "The drinking is for business relationships and entertaining. Don't criticize how I do my job." It seems that Matthew was using the money in the account as he pleases, without even checking the details. Upon further investigation, it wasn't just drinking. He was buying things for his hobbies, making excuses like a break from work, and doing whatever he wanted. No wonder the savings were decreasing. Hey, the money in our joint account is what we both contributed when we got married, right? Shouldn't we save a little more? Then Matthew yelled at me. Don't be so noisy when I'm supporting you. You should be grateful to live under a high earner like me. Matthew's salary is $1,500 a month. Is that considered a high salary? But in Matthew's company, he seems to be on the higher end of the pay scale. Because of that, Matthew has completely convinced himself that he's a high earner. Listen, I'm expected at the company, so I'm juggling many jobs. I have many clients, so the number of entertaining events increases. That's why the drinking parties increase. It can't be helped. There are many people in the company who are laid off and quit due to restructuring. Don't you understand my competence being needed by the company all this time? His reasoning is just too selfish. I had kept quiet until now, but I finally couldn't stand it anymore. I'll be clear about this. A salary of $1,500 is not a high salary or anything. Nowadays, everyone gets more for their first salary. For your age, only getting $1,500 is actually too little. But in my company, if you say you're a high earner in the company, isn't it that Matthew's company's salary level itself is low? What did you say? Also, if you're going drinking for entertaining, the company should cover it as an expense. It's strange for you to bear it personally. Well, it's common, isn't it? Is it? And the people around you who quit, were they really laid off due to restructuring? What do you mean? Well, no one explicitly said it's restructuring, but employees are regularly decreasing. Isn't it that everyone's quitting because they hate the company's harsh nature? The salary is low, overtime pay is hardly given, and they don't even let you use expenses for business drinking. That could easily be classified as a so-called black company, don't you think? What did you say? People like Matthew, who work for low wages without questioning anything, are valuable to the company in a way. But aren't you just being used rather than being relied upon? I said too much. I realized it too late. Matthew's face turned bright red and his shoulders were shaking. You, a country bumpkin and a vocational school graduate, wouldn't understand society? $1,500 is a low salary? You're just a sore loser. A sore loser? Yes! I saw your pay stub the other day, and you only made $1,000. What? Where did you see that? Looking at my surprise, Matthew said triumphantly, The deposit statement was left on the desk. Fool, no matter how much you talk back to me, you still earn less than me. If I don't support you, you can't even live on your own. Stunned, I listened as Matthew continued. This is your punishment for defying me. I'll stay at my parents' house for a while. Try living on your own. You'll understand how much you need me. Parents' house? You can't be serious. I'll take both the joint account and my personal account passbooks and cards. You'll manage with just your earnings, won't you? With that, Matthew quickly packed his things and left. After he left, I started living alone. Living by myself, I quickly realized how comfortable it is. There's no one to complain about the menu when I cook. I can make whatever I want to eat. Since Matthew was the one who mostly messed up the room, cleaning is a breeze when I'm alone. Without a husband who drinks and comes home every day, I don't have to spend extra money. Would it be better if he's not here? Just when I started thinking that, Matthew called. Hey, are you alive? I thought you, being so stubborn, wouldn't come crying to me, so I called. Have you realized how much you need me? If you apologize now, I might come back. But you'll have to promise not to defy me anymore. You don't have to come back. At my immediate response, Matthew let out a strange, huh? I realized something after being away from you and being alone. It's better without you. Stop talking nonsense. How do you plan to live on your own? You can't live on $1,000, can you? What you saw wasn't my salary statement, but the amount paid for expenses. My company, unlike Matthew's, doesn't skimp on expenses. Expenses, you say? Yes, my salary is $4,000. What? $4,000? How can you, a vocational school graduate, earn that much? I practiced a lot of practical work at vocational school to become immediately employable, and the company allowed me to obtain many useful certifications. Thanks to those qualifications, I received offers from companies I wanted, and I've been promoted smoothly since I joined the company, thanks to the specialized skills I learned at school. So I think a $4,000 salary is a fair amount, and it's a natural result. How can you, a vocational school graduate, earn more than me, a university graduate? You always look down on a vocational school graduate, but Matthew, your university is just a 4-year institution and practically unknown, right? Person who brags about being from a third-rate university just because it's a 4-year institution probably wouldn't be hired by a decent company. Maybe a company with harsh working conditions like yours would find you easy to handle. After all I've done to support you, how can you say that? You don't understand anything. Your salary alone couldn't possibly maintain this lifestyle. No matter how much we save on living expenses, $1,500 can't cover rent, utilities, your drinking expenses, and shopping for hobbies. If it weren't for my salary, we would have gone bankrupt long ago. You never said a word about this before. You were the one managing the account, right? I assumed you noticed. I'm surprised you had no sense of urgency, even though the balance was steadily decreasing. I didn't have time to look at that all the time. Both our salaries are our money. Yes, that's true. I didn't care who earned more, as long as our savings were growing. I had no resistance to using my salary for our future. But it seems that my salary was not going into savings, but was all spent on your drinking parties and shopping for hobbies. Well, I've had enough of that. I realized I don't need you anymore, so you don't have to come back here. Wait, are you breaking up with me? Well, yes. If my salary is gone, it's you who won't be able to live, right? Then Matthew suddenly became frantic. Wait, don't leave me! What a quick change from his earlier arrogance about supporting me. I threw his words back at him. Well, if you apologize now, I might forgive you, but you'll have to promise not to defy me anymore. I understand. I promise. Really? Yes! I'll even increase the living expenses I give you a little. At his desperate plea, I burst into laughter. Give me living expenses? What are you talking about? From now on, you'll be doing the housework, so I don't need living expenses. I'm doing housework? Yes, you said it yourself. It's natural for the one who earns less to do the housework. Between your $1,500 and my $4,000, you, a university graduate, can easily figure out who earns less, right? From now on, I'll give you living expenses, and you'll do the housework. I'll manage the total money. But housework is a woman's job, right? Oh, are you defying me? Planning to break the promise already? I'm ready to divorce any time, you know. Wait, I understand. And so he agreed to take on all the housework, just as I said. After that, I continued to make requests to Matthew. Matthew, no more overtime from now on. Wait a minute! I can't finish my work without overtime! There's no need to do unpaid overtime. If you do overtime, make sure the company pays you for it. Alright. Also, I won't pay for your entertainment expenses. What? The only money I have to spend freely is the living expenses I get at the beginning of the month. How am I supposed to go out drinking with that? You should be able to get entertainment expenses from the company. Talk to them about that too. If you go out for drinks for other reasons, I'll give you additional social expenses. As I said, Matthew tried to negotiate with his company for overtime pay and entertainment expenses, but he was brushed off. The supervisors who had been flattering him with, "We rely on you," and "You're our star," suddenly turned cold. Matthew finally seemed to realize that his company was not normal. What Annika said was true. They just wanted an employee who would do unpaid overtime and self-funded entertainment without complaining. Matthew, who had given up on his company, then began job hunting. However, he couldn't find a company willing to hire him, a third-rate university graduate with no qualifications or skills. In interviews, he was told, "If you only had at least one qualification..." Matthew, who had failed miserably in his job search, said to me admiringly, The qualifications you have are actually amazing. I've always looked down on you for being a vocational school graduate, but you are far more incredible than me. I was wrong. I'm sorry for everything. Matthew, who had been uncooperative and unreasonable in our married life, had completely changed. In the end, he started working part-time at a nearby supermarket. I'm not as efficient at housework as you yet, so I chose a place where I can come home early. From now on, I'll support you from behind. Matthew, thank you. But I want you to continue job hunting. We can do housework whenever we can. Let's work together as a couple from now on. But even if I continue job hunting, it's impossible for me to join a company that pays better than you. Don't worry about that. I was originally against Matthew's idea that the one who doesn't earn does the housework. I just wanted you to understand that, so I said the same thing. Matthew, why don't you look for a job you want to do without worrying about money? After that, Matthew started checking job listings and studying for qualifications during his part-time work. If I don't have any skills, I thought I'd at least get some qualifications. Annika, can you help me with what I don't understand? Yes, of course. Although our relationship has become the complete opposite of what it was initially, Matthew and I are getting along much better than when we were newlyweds. I like Matthew now much more than the old him. I want to continue living together as a couple, combining our strengths.